There's nothing worse than being in nature than hearing the sound of a diesel generator. Ben, are you going to solve that problem for us?
Absolutely, unequivocally. I will die trying.
Well, how are you going to do that? It looks like you have something interesting here with the Lightship.
We're going to build a whole RV company to do it. Yeah. Uh, Lightship is America's first electric RV manufacturer. And you're looking at some shots of our first product. We call it the AE1, and we think it stands for the Aero-Electric 1. These are Aero-Electric travel trailers. We think it's kind of the perfect travel trailer for the electric age. And we are just starting production after almost 4 years at it this year. And I cannot tell you how exciting that is.
A project like this has got to be a huge undertaking, given that you're actually have a drivetrain in this besides all the other accoutrements of a RV, right?
Yeah, it's really not it's not a typical trailer. Actually, in a lot of ways, it's a new class of vehicle, and I say that because, up until now, all trailers have been dead weight. So your truck is responsible for doing all the work of pulling it, whereas our approach is to build a new type of trailer that is self-propelling. And so when I say self-propelling, what I mean is that the trailer has an EV-sized battery and a motor on board, and we use that motor to propel the wheels of the trailer so that the truck, which would normally be doing all the work, feels the weight of the trailer lift off of it. And as it's cruising on the highway, that means that instead of getting either terrible fuel economy or losing a lot of your range, if it's an EV truck, now your range is rescued and your fuel economy is good again, because the trailer is supporting itself. We call it the Trek Drive system.
I have a lot of questions, but do you have to go to the federal motor vehicle safety standards to get this approved and that sort of thing?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean, one thing that is nice is that some of the most stringent requirements around crash safety, for instance, don't apply for a trailer because a trailer does not have occupants in it while it's on the road. That said, there are still federal motor vehicle safety standards that we need to meet. This drive system, the Trek Drive system, is really we're breaking ground with it. So there are no regulations currently around it, although I'm sure that regulators are watching the space, and I think that it's likely that we'll work with them over the years to show them what we've already built, show them what's awesome about it, and then figure out what needs to be tweaked to keep making it better for users.
And the other challenge must be, how in the heck do you kind of keep at the right speed for the vehicle that's pulling you?
It was a question that kept me up at night. A few of us for a while. There were two obvious ways to go about synchronizing the truck and the trailer, because that's what you need to do. You never want the trailer to fight the truck as it's self-propelling. One option would be to do so with digital communications. So actually have them kind of talking to each other, controller to controller. We actually didn't love that approach because to do that would mean that every make and model of truck needs to be on a new automotive standard for trailer communications. And the auto industry is amazing. The auto industry is a little conservative too. And so I think by the time that the auto industry gets around to that, a fledgling startup is far gone. The other way that you could do it, which we ended up doing, was to put a powertrain on the trailer, have the other powertrain on the truck, and then put a force sensor in the hitch of the trailer. So we are continuously measuring the force between the truck and the trailer. And if the trailer starts to pull the truck back, that's a signal for the motor on the trailer to spin up to help the truck. And vice versa, if the trailer begins to push the truck, now the trailer motor, the Trek Drive system, knows to go into regen mode to actually pull the trailer back slightly. And the system does all of this in, sub 250 millisecond timing, meaning that to the driver, what's happening there, that modulation is imperceptible, but and really for the driver, what What the trailer feels like is that it's just floating on the truck, right? You can imagine that with a trailer you have the ball hitch and the socket, and that ball is kind of just floating in there like it's weightless. It's cool.
And so, what if you're on a rocky road? You're out in the middle of nowhere, so it'll take the bounces and so forth.
Yeah, durability wise, absolutely. You probably don't have the truck drive system enabled if you're going low speed on a rocky road. There are a few scenarios where you would need it at that point because there are a bunch of benefits that you can get from it, but the key benefit of having a propulsed trailer is better efficiency on the road. So it's either great fuel economy or not losing the range in your truck. I think over time there will be a broader set of features that you can build out. There are a lot of things that a trailer with a propulsion system can do that one that is just passive never could. So, to your rocky road example, maybe you towed out onto some BLM land, and when you towed out there, it was bone dry as it always is. But then it downpoured, and you're like, oh gosh, how am I going to get out of here? I might not have the traction to pull this big trailer out. I think there's opportunity to do something like a slip start mode there, where the trailer is actually gaining some extra propulsion some extra traction from the propulsion system. But that's not how we think about like the first line features for it. Definitely from a thinking about reliability and durability, we're a lot of the people in the company, my co-founder and I included, are from the auto industry, have been through a few automotive product development cycles, and know the thinking and the level of validation that goes into a car when you buy it. And we're adapting a lot of that thinking to the validation of this product, and so we'll be damn sure that your force sensing hitch is not going to fall apart when the first time you take it down a rough road.
By having batteries, it allows you to do a lot of other things you can't do, right, with a regular trailer.
Sure, it's a consolidated power experience at that point. It's you're going from kind of a hodgepodge of fuel sources, which if we're being honest is the state of the art today, where you might have a 12 volt lead acid car battery that is at least one time a year going to leave you without a running furnace. Typically you have either a propane or a gas generator on board that's providing all of your AC power to run your AC appliances, and then you also usually have a separate propane system, which is you're burning the propane to do your heating and cooking. And we've basically collapsed all of that into a single clean and silent power source in putting a large EV battery on board. And so that EV battery not only provides the power for the truck drive system for when you're going down the road, but also all of your camping loads. And so all the appliances on board are electric. We have a high efficiency heat pump, air conditioner heater system that can climate control the vehicle wherever you are, and much more quietly than you're used to if you're used to a typical rattling rooftop RV AC. And what's nice is that we've basically dedicated the whole roof line of the vehicle to a solar array as well, and it's a pretty large vehicle, so you can fit close to 2 kilowatts, 2,000 watts of solar into the roof line. And that's actually when you think about the camping loads, that's pulling in a significant amount of energy day to day, and there's somewhere to put it, which is the high voltage battery. And so in most scenarios where there's some light, you are able to keep up with your camping loads just through the solar roof.
So you really just have to plan for your trip as far as how far you're going to go and make sure you have enough charge to get back, but then you can worry about the recharging from the sun.
Yeah, you got to make sure that you can get there. And if you're going to, if you know that you'll have some sun, and I think actually we'll get smart about this over time and sort of we'll forecast for you what, how much energy should I expect to get over the next few days at my destination, then you'll know that you'll be good.
Well, and that's an interesting thing. So there must be a connectivity aspect to this as well, is there?
Oh, sure. Yeah, really the bones of it are it is a modern connected vehicle. It's like it's an EV masquerading as an RV. So yeah, it's got a cell modem. It's actually Starlink prepped
Okay.
as well. So if you're going way off grid where you know you're probably not going to have a cell connection either, but you have a Starlink, you can port that into the vehicle and give the whole vehicle internet off of the Starlink. Um, it's I guess looking under the hood a little bit, we're able to track telemetry on the vehicle and then basically gather that field data and know how the vehicles are performing, and then make improvements to them based on people's usage patterns, or if something is going wrong in the vehicle, we can see that and diagnose it, often remotely. Because it's a connected vehicle, you can do over-the-air updates as well. So just like if you buy a good modern car, you should expect it, at least from a software perspective, to get better over time. So now will your Lightship RV. There's a lot you can do with it.
One of the things that impressed me is you bring credibility, having been with an auto manufacturer, one who's developed electric cars. How's that kind of informed, where you're going with this?
Yeah, I mean, I think we do. We bring the mindset of a group of people who have worked in the auto industry. One way that I think about it that I think is especially relevant for RVing is that if you look at most RVs on the road today, if we're honest, it's pretty hard to tell if it was produced in the 1990s or like last week. That is certainly not the case for cars. Automotive is a very competitive space, and so there have been many advancements happening, electrification and beyond, over the past few decades. We have been living those advancements and contributing to them in the auto space, and now have the opportunity to bring it into a space that really has not changed nearly as much for a while. I think from a built to last standpoint, imagine if you bought a car and after 30 or 40 uses, the thing was starting to fall apart. You would lemon law that.
And you have a different way of putting it together, as I recall. I mean, you're not using the traditional aluminum with rivets, right?
Yeah, the construction methods are pretty different across the board. The body in particular is a large composite body, so it's built a little bit more like an aircraft, like a glider plane, than traditionally RVs are kind of stick built. So they're built more like a little home that you put onto a trailer frame. It's not a very durable way to build a product like this, and so basically our aspiration is for customers to have a reliability experience with a product like this that is akin to that of a car. And I think especially, this is a little more sentimental, but if you think about how people use RVs, these are like some of the best memories they make in their lives. It's all of our lives. You go out with the people you love the most, and you have really kind of authentic experiences, just talking to each other around a campfire or after a long hike or whatever you've done on that day. And I have this dream that 10, 15 years from now, some of the first Cosmos owners, the first AE1 owners, will pass their AE1s on to the next in line in the family, and I think we stand a chance to offer that.
Yeah, and it also, going back to when you get an electric drivetrain like that, you can do things you couldn't do before, as far as things like parking it. Is that correct? Well, without needing the vehicle to back it in?
Definitely. Yeah, there are opportunities, and we're working on one right now to do sort of like low speed maneuvering of the trailer. It is notoriously challenging to back up a large trailer. One thing that I think we can do right away and already have done is just to have a good camera system around the vehicle. So we have a 270 degree view set of cameras that will allow you to look at the Atlas system, which is what we call our tablet infotainment system, and know everything that's going on around the vehicle. I think there are also there are isolated cases where maybe you're trying to park the RV somewhere that's so tight, like a side yard or something, where you actually need to maneuver it by hand, separate from the truck. And this is something we've thought about and are working on too. We just want to make sure when we when we release a feature like that, that it it actually meets the need, and is not sort of a gimmick, and that's going to take some testing and basically feedback from our first customers.
And say I want to go just in a regular RV park. Does it have all the standard fittings to hook up sewage and water and electricity?
Yeah, I'm actually this is uh, a less sexy but very important part of the RV experience is your dump and fill experience. Dumping in particular, like anybody who has RV'd for more than a few years has at least one horror story around dumping the tanks in their RV. I and the whole team thought a lot about this, and so we have a pretty cool system. I think that the basically the sewage hose that comes out of the RV, typically you'd store away separately in the bumper, and then you have to connect it up to the camper, often in the freezing cold, right? And you're having to deal with this thing. In our case, we've designed the system so that the dump hose always stays connected to the vehicle side of the vehicle, so you just pull it out of a compartment and then put it over the dump hole. Instead of having to pull valves manually sort of get under there, we just have two push buttons where you have electronic valves, dump one tank, dump the other, reclose them. Compatibility wise, any standard campground fittings, both from an electrical and a power standpoint, will work with it with a Lightship. And I think actually on the electrical front, that's pretty key, because most campgrounds that are outfitted for an RV have a 240 volt plug that is capable of level 2 charging your EV, which is an RV, overnight. And so I think if you there's kind of a classic problem in EVing where you fast charge along the way, and then you might need to fast charge one more time when you're very close to your destination, just to make sure that you have enough energy for when you continue on in your journey. And in our case, it's like, just get to point B, plug in at the campground, and you're going to be full battery as you go to leave the next morning.
That's excellent. And that's why I guess it says go further, because you're looking at some pretty impressive specs there in terms of, one I like was the fifth bullet there, and that's the home backup support. So now we effectively have a mobile battery you can use at home.
This AE1 is kind of it's basically a very capable home solar system that is playing to be an RV. I think we've mapped this out before, or kind of like done the math. If you were to put an AE1 sized solar system, so solar plus battery, on your house, you're probably not doing it for less than like $75K. So this is all baked in to the vehicle. You can initially use your AE1 like you would a home backup generator, but without the noise and the fuel cost and having to run it every 6 months and all that. Over time, we will add additional kind of functionality around energy services. So if, for instance, you wanted to arbitrage the grid and deplete your Lightship while power costs are high, and then only be pulling off the grid when the power is cheap, there'll be intelligence like that will build in, so that you can kind of continue to exercise the efficiencies and get more utility from a product that, if we're honest, most RVs spend most of their life doing nothing. Let's like sitting in your driveway or in storage somewhere. Let's flip that script and make it something that you're using year round.
Yeah, and it looks like you're building them in the USA and California. Is that correct?
Proudly so. Actually, just north of Denver in Colorado. We have a big sales and service hub that doubles as an R&D center in the San Francisco Bay Area, just south of San Francisco. Our manufacturing and operational hub is in a town called Broomfield, which, if you know Broomfield, just north of Denver, right near Thornton. And we have a little over 30,000 square foot pilot manufacturing facility there, where we are doing general and final assembly of the vehicles, which includes building a lot of the pieces of them. We have a very domestic heavy supply chain as well, and it's kind of cool. I guess we've been doing this for a few years. We're walking the walk here. We are bringing manufacturing back to America and learning to do it day by day. And it's something that actually it's one of the things that I take the most pride in what we're doing right now, because I think that story is so important, and for us to be able to actually do it is a big deal.
Well, yeah, I could see these being used as tiny homes, right, for a homeless crisis, right?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, you can imagine crisis response, like you're saying. A lot of people will use them like a granny flat, basically, like their ADU.
And it's really kind of priced competitively with standard RVs, right? I mean, a little bit more than just a trailer, but
Yeah, this is it's a trailer that's selling in the premium segment as a conventional bumper pull travel trailer, but there are many trailers that do sell at around this price point. If you're cross shopping it with something like an ADU, it's actually significantly less than that. I think people will and should think of this as an investment, and an investment that hopefully with some of the thought that we've put into the design of it is not just something that you're having a great time with as you're out on the road, but actually something you're getting real value from year round.
And so do you envision maybe licensing some of the technology, some of the things you've developed to others?
I think there's a possibility of that. This is some of Toby's my Tesla genes sticking out, but I think impact is the pinnacle of what I feel like I can do in my work. And so a lot of our mission statement for the company is to try to bring electrification and the best of electrification to this industry and this lifestyle that has not really been touched by great electric products yet. And I want to do that quickly. I want to do that massively. And so any avenue that we can find that makes sense for Lightship as a business to do that, we will pursue.
Excellent. Ben, I so appreciate your time. Thank you.